It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Ella Johnson Show. Today's broadcast is a special broadcast, and yes, because we are committed to talking about T. Tunstall, well, that's what we're going to do again today. The conversation about T. Tunstall continues. I want to welcome you if you're watching from Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. Thank you guys for always being supportive of this show and sharing. So we need you to do again today, like right now, and every single person watching to share this broadcast. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you so much. Thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my channel. But if you're watching from YouTube for the first time, do me a favor and subscribe since you're already there. So tonight, you guys see that I have Stephan here, and we're going to have a great broadcast. I do have a surprise guest. That person is here. Okay, so I want you guys to come on in, because I'm not going to bring that person in until we get quite a few people here, because y'all want to hear this side, this perspective of what happened to T. Tunstall. That's what this is all about. What really happened to T. So we're here again, as I'm saying, because quite frankly, this community still needs answers.
And we ain't got it.
We're talking about the case of Ammarin. Case where the official story we're being fed is full of holes, and those holes are getting bigger and bigger by the day. All right, we do the same thing every time. We ask for transparency. The investigation is ongoing. We're told the body cam footage is private, that the autopsy is pending, and that we just need to sit back and be patient. Well, you know what? So while the authorities hide behind those red tape excuses, the truth has been silenced, but not tonight, baby girl.
They're in cover-up mode.
What? We're done waiting for them to tell us what happened. We're going to tell you the truth ourselves. I'm joined again by Stephan, who has been right there in the trenches with me. Thank you so much. Fighting to get the facts out into the light. What?
Digging in.
But tonight we're going a step further, Stephan. I have a guest joining us who hasn't been heard from. Someone who was right there on the ground that day. That's right. She stood in the gap for T when this all happened, when it happened most, and she's here tonight to make sure that you all know the truth about what happened.
Yes, she is.
She saw how he was handled. She saw the reality that the headlines have chosen to ignore.
Sure did.
Tonight is not about hearsay, though, Stephan. It's about
we've had a chance to be able to speak with an on the ground, on the scene, saw from the beginning to the end, the whole 9 yards, and is also known to Mr. Tunstall as well. So I believe that her statement, all right, that we're all recording, by the way, is going to shine a very large and bright light on the time frames and how the succession of events moved forward from the time of the police getting involved with T all the way until the time that he actually made contact at jail. And we've beat that drum so hard. We know that. We're going to cover a little bit about that again, I know. But there's a lot of details that this statement fills in the blanks that we don't get to see in the video. I mean, when you take the statement and you take the video and you put them together, I mean, it's like a narrator reading over a book.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, tonight we're going to expose the gaps in this narrative, because when the system fails to provide transparency, it's up to us. That's right. Here on the Ella Johnson Show, to hold the mirror up to it. Now, Stephan, I want to thank you for standing with me. To our guests, hang on, and thank you for your courage. All right, we're going to make sure T's story is told the way it actually happened. All right, so for those of you that are watching from City Council, the mayor's office, or Mandy's office, the Monroeville Police Department, or anyone that's involved in or around this case, we're going to bring truth to you tonight. And that's all coming up. Now, for
Yeah,
those
we're
of
not
you
getting anything out of you.
that's right. Listen, you guys don't want to talk to people and find out what's going on, we'll do it for you. How about that?
Pretty
So
much.
for those of you that are just tuning in and are not familiar with this story, it's very important for us to establish the context and the reason for this broadcast. Listen, I am a native of Monroeville. I grew up there, went to school there, graduated there, went to church there, got baptized there, right?
Hey, quick question. Are you streaming on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are on Facebook. Yes, we're on Facebook on 3 different platforms on Facebook, actually. So, and we're on YouTube. So you guys definitely thank you for tuning in. But anyway,
The only
back
reason
to
why
what I
I
was-
asked is it still shows it like that.
oh no, maybe it's just frozen, but we're live there.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm watching
No,
both
that's
feeds.
okay. We want to make sure. But yes, we are definitely, we're on Facebook. We should be. Let me just check it as well, because I want to make sure that we're good. Because this
We're good.
show,
We're good. We're good.
we're good? Okay, good deal. All right, guys. So, like I was saying, I want to make sure that you are familiar with this first before we get started. I want you guys to pay attention to this story, listen to a lot of the detail based on what the Monroeville Police Department is saying. So, we're going to cover all of that with our guest, but I want you guys to watch this for those of you that are not familiar with this story.
First, Monroeville's top cop laying out why her officers were caught on camera dragging a man who died in police custody.
That viral video causing a lot of people to question what the officers did to 35-year-old Ammarin Tunstall. Now we're hearing from Police Chief Mandy Armstrong.
She says that Tunstall refused to walk. Our Natalie Williamson breaking the story earlier this week.
And she has the new developments tonight.
Lenise and Cameron, it's been more than 72 hours since Ammarin Tunstall died while he was in the custody of the Monroeville Police Department. And tonight, for the first time, the Monroeville Police Chief is giving their side of the story. Tonight, Monroeville Police Chief Mandy Armstrong is explaining why her officers were dragging a man who died about an hour later. This viral video shows Ammarin Tunstall being taken into custody Monday afternoon on Pearl Avenue. Chief Armstrong released a statement late this afternoon saying, quote, Mr. Tunstall was talking with officers and alert, but refused to walk. This was not uncommon behavior for Mr. Tunstall. The chief says officers were responding to a call on Tunstall for a domestic situation. Armstrong says Tunstall had outstanding warrants, and when an officer approached him, Tunstall ran into nearby woods. Police say he was eventually taken into custody, quote, without incident. But one of Tunstall's family members disputes that claim, telling me earlier this week that officers pepper sprayed and tased Tunstall multiple times. Tunstall's cousin, Selena Thomas, says she witnessed officers pulling him from the wooded area.
He was on his knees, and I asked the officer, could I speak with him? He told me no, because I called his name. He didn't respond. They threw him back on the police car, face down.
The chief says Tunstall was talking to officers when he got into the police car. The chief says once Tunstall arrived at the Monroe County Detention Facility, he was unresponsive. That's when police gave him medical aid and called EMS. He was taken to Monroe County ER, where he was pronounced dead. While the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency continues looking into the case, State Representative Thomas Jackson, who represents Monroe County, is calling for more state involvement.
And I'm asking for an investigation from the Attorney General's office to look into this matter, because we got too many of these things happening in our neighborhood where people of color are being abused by law enforcement.
We're still waiting on the results of Tunstall's autopsy. We'll keep you updated as the story develops. In Monroeville, Natalie Williamson, Fox 10 News.
Congressman Shamari Figures reacting to this investigation on social media. He said, quote, my office has received calls regarding the unfortunate death of Ammarin Tunstall. I've been in touch with local officials, and I have been informed the state is investigating this matter. We expect full transparency regarding the circumstances that led to his death, end quote.
All right. So, wait a minute. There we go. So, when you see that again, Stephen, what do you? I mean, every time I watch this, I feel angry. I feel anxious. I feel upset because it's just not all of it. So I want our surprise guest for tonight to take stage with us so you guys can see who it is that's here tonight to offer more information on this story.
All right, come on in here, Selena. Front stage. Let me just slide over. All right.
There you are, Miss Selena. Selena was just seen there on the video. She is the cousin who was interviewed by Fox and WKRG to give her side. So welcome, Selena, to the Ella Johnson Show.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Listen, I am excited. I appreciate you for coming in. I know that this is not easy, Selena, because you are, you have a lot of people watching you right now and under scrutiny because there are people that think they know what happened, but you're going to make sure that we understand what really happened out there. So before we get started with all of that, I want you to tell us what kin you are to T.
Well, T is my first cousin. His mom is my auntie.
Okay. And you're the cousin that they were talking about in the video that he was there to visit that day. How did you see him before all of this happened? Okay. Talk to us about that.
Well, he
was there to see you that day.
Yes, man. He was there to see me. I wasn't at home at the time. When he called my phone, he asked me was I at home, and I told him I wasn't there, but he could walk inside because my door was unlocked. And he called me. He said, how far are you away? Because the police just keep following me. They was following him down Closet Road from my understanding. Burger Road from my understanding. I said, well, I'm on the way because I was not in Monroe. I was in Purdue Hill, which is about 10 minutes from Monroe.
So before we get into that, tell us about T. Because a lot of people see this side. They don't really know who he is. They don't know that he was a father or what kind of father he was. Tell us, first of all, what kind of cousin he was. How'd you guys get along?
We got along great. He was very overprotective, like he was a protective person about his family and stuff. If we ever had any issues, we called T. If we wanted to have somebody to talk to, we called T. And he was just a person that was gonna tell you how it was, and regardless of if you liked it or not, but he was a family person.
And he was a father.
Yes, man. He liked to be around his family. He loved kids, and he was just a person to call on for anything. Basically, you need anything did around the house, he was the person to call.
So when you first learned that he was in the wood, tell us, where were you that day when you first saw T? That day.
I was the first time I seen him, the officers was pulling him out the woods. I was pulling into the projects because I stayed up. So I was pulling into the apartment complex while they was pulling him out the woods. It was the first time I seen him there.
Now I want you to take your time and explain to us in detail what you saw when you saw him being pulled out of the woods.
Okay, so I pulled into the apartment complex at exactly 2:54 because I was looking at my phone, and there was the officers was pulling him from behind the apartment complex, or from the side road. He went from behind from the side of the apartment complex, and he was unresponsive then. Like you could look at him and tell his head was like bobbling or whatever. His head was like this right here. His head was down, and when he first came from around the apartment complex, he was standing. He was not standing steady though. You know how people knees be weak. He was like standing or whatever. And as they was pulling him from behind from the side of the building or whatever, his knees became weaker. That's I noticed then his knees had became weaker. And by that time, it's like the officers was speeding up as his knees got weaker. It's like the officers kind of was speeding up, pulling him or whatever. They started pulling him then. But he was unresponsive then. He was unresponsive at the time. Then as they were pulling from the side of the building, he was already unresponsive.
So did you hear him say anything? Did he mumble?
He didn't say a mumbling word. He didn't say anything.
Okay. So they're dragging him. What was that? What were the attitude of the police when you saw them dragging him now coming out of the woods?
It's like they was upset. They was mad. I guess because, like I said, they was trying to make him walk. From my understanding, they was trying to make him walk, but he couldn't walk. How can you walk and you unresponsible? So they had an attitude. The officers had an attitude.
What did they say?
The officer, one of the tall white guys, one of the ones that pulling him, told him to stand up and stop acting like a child. Stop acting like a damn child. That's what he said. Stop acting like a damn child. Stand up.
Wow.
And as they was putting him in the back seat of the police car, I called his name. That's how I knew he was unresponsible. Because I called his name. I said, well, I called him Cuz. I did not call him by his name, T. I was calling Cuz because that's what he called me. I said, Cuz, I said, what you need me to do? Do you want me to call your grandma? He was not responding. By that time, the officer was rushing to throw him in the back seat of the car. They was rushing to throw him back to the car, whatever. So, and I called one of the officers that was holding the door open. I'm not sure what his name is, but he was holding the door open. I called him. I said, hey, I said, could you at least tell him to give me a call? Can I speak with him? He told me no. And I asked, can I speak with him? He told me no. And I said, well, could you at least tell him to give me a call when he gets to the jailhouse? The officer told me no. That's if he get a call because he acting an ass. And I said, from my understanding, you can't take nobody call. Everybody get that one call. You can't take nobody call away because of the way he's acting. Because everybody get that one call when they go to the county jail. The officer told me, well, he acting like he want to go back to the mental home. And I said, well, from my understanding, he's never been to a mental home. The officer, he kind of, shrugged it off and walked away. He didn't say anything else to me.
Okay, let's go back because there's been rumors that he was tased and pepper sprayed. Now, where did that first of all, have you heard that?
I heard the same thing. I can't say I saw it because I didn't see it, but
did you notice any dye on his shirt? Because the pepper sprays from the cops are either dyed red or they're dyed green.
I could not tell because, like I said, he was like this. They had him. I couldn't see what was in front of his shirt because the way they had him bent, like he was kind of kneeled like forward, so I couldn't really see anything that was on his shirt. But I know one of his shoes was off. You can tell they had been aggressive because one of his shoes was in the middle of the parking lot.
Is it still? Did they leave it in the parking lot? His shoe?
They did not. They did. When I went back up, I didn't see the shoe, but one of his shoes was in the parking lot, in the middle of the parking lot. It was a white Air Force.
Now let's talk about the dragging. We all saw that, as we saw here on the video. Did you hear them saying anything as they're dragging? Because we see there's a woman out front. Was she saying anything? Like, what kind of stuff did you hear as they were dragging him?
They were trying to make him stand up, telling him to stand up. Like I said, telling him to stop acting like an ass, acting like a child. It was the tire officer with the nasty attitude. I'm not sure what his name is, but he was very aggressive, and the way they treated him was very unhuman. That's all I can say because when he just kept telling him, he was talking to him aggressive, rather. He was talking to him. He wasn't responding though. He still talking to him. He was talking to him and he wasn't saying anything.
So
which is outside of his character.
So when Mandy says that T was alert and talking to the officers, did you see that?
No, ma'am. He was not alert. When I saw him, and I'm his first cousin, we very close. And when I called his name, he didn't say nothing. He was not responsible. That's the first lie that was told. He was not responsible at all.
Now, did you see them put him in the back seat?
Yes, ma'am, I did. They threw him in the back seat of the car. It took several officers. They kept trying to make him stand up, like I said. And it took several officers. They picked him up on his arms, and they threw him in the back seat of the police car face down. He was face down. They put him in the back seat of the police car with his hand behind his back in cuffs.
Was it one officer doing that or two officers picking him up and putting him in the back seat?
It was two officers picking him up. It was one officer on each side picking him up and threw him back to the car.
Now that they've shut the door,
face down. He was
with
face
his
down.
hand behind his back, face down into the seat.
Okay. So now he's in the back seat of the car, and I'm assuming the officers got in the car. How long did it take for them to, once they put him in the car, how long did they crank up the car to leave?
They didn't leave immediately. They stood around for, I would say maybe 3 to 5 minutes. They stood around talking. They was in a bundle. They stood around talking for a second. And so it took them about 5 minutes to leave from up there. From where they put him in, after they put him in the car, they did not leave immediately. They stayed there for a second to talk, as if they was having a meeting or something.
Did you see any of the officers leave the car and go back like behind the building or anything like that?
The lady, the short, stocky lady, she was back and forward.
She went back. She did.
Yes,
how many police cars were there that day there?
I can recall, because as I was pulling up, I know it was another police car pulling up. I'm not sure the exact amount, but I would say maybe 3 to 5. No, 3 to 4. I would say 3 to 4 police officer cars up there that day. Because he was in the back seat. They had him in a truck. So yeah, I would say about 3 to 5.
Did they leave in a hurry?
No, ma'am. They did not leave in a hurry. They did not leave in a hurry at all.
And when they left the complex, the place where they were, which way did they go?
They didn't go directly up the road. And I found this strange. They didn't go up toward where they supposed to have went, like going toward the police station. They went down the road to Pineview.
Yeah, they made a right instead of a left.
They went down the road toward Pineview, and they stayed down there. I would say maybe 2 minutes. It took them about 2. They went down there, and within like 2 to 3 minutes, they came back up with their sirens on. They was not rushing. Came back up the sirens on, not rushing to go, to the police station. I'm assuming this would have hit to, but they was not in a rush to do anything.
At any time did you see their lights on though? Were they rushing?
When they left the apartment complex, their lights was not on. The lights were not on. They did not turn the lights on until after they came from down the road, which was the opposite way of the police station.
Now they said that T was faking. They said that he refused to stand. You heard the video that we just played, right? You saw Mandy's statement. Now let's talk about some of the stuff that was in her statement. She said that he was refusing to walk. Tell us about T's character to the point to where he was acting outside of his character that day. What would he have done had he been alert?
Had he been alert, he would have said something back to me for one. That's the first thing. And then, because like I said, why would he not say anything back to me when I had just got the phone with him? Okay, and secondly, if he was alert, then when they asked T to stand up, he would have tried to stand up. At least tried to. If he couldn't stand up, he would have tried to. Being the force that they was put on his body, talking about pulling him up on his arms, he would have tried to stand up. I know him personally, so he would have tried to stand up, but he couldn't stand up because he was unresponsive.
I mean, who wants to have their bare foot dragged into that concrete? Anyways, I know I want to.
And then it was the top part of his foot. It was the top part. Top part of his foot was being dragged with no socks on. So just imagine that. I know for a fact he would have tried to stand up.
So, all right. So here we are now. He's in the car. They've driven off. What's the next thing you hear about this?
The next thing I hear about it, I got an app on my phone. I look on the app on my phone and I see where it says something about a patient was unresponsive. And I knew then it was something was off. I knew from the start there was something was off. I knew something was wrong. I felt something was wrong. I knew something was wrong because like I said, he didn't say anything. So and I went on the app and I seen it say something about overdose. And I said, well that don't sound right. They don't no, an overdose, how is it possible that he had an overdose when if they say he was responsive, and I know he wasn't responsive, that's the first letter, so he was never responsive, from my understanding. But I heard over the app I have on my phone, something about a patient was unresponsive. And when I looked at the phone, I said, well, ain't no way they'd have made it to the police station this fast saying somebody, they had to still drive when they make the call saying somebody overdose. They had to still driving to the police station at the time because, like I said, it happened so fast. Oh, let me go back also. When I was pulling him out of the woods, well, from the side of the apartment complex, well, I also knew something was wrong because they was rushing. They was in a rush. They was moving so fast to the point where when they put him in the side of the police car, it's like the officers surrounded him, so you really couldn't see him like that. They was in a rush to do what they was doing. So I knew something was off. That their personality or mood rather, you could tell something was out. It was like they was trying to hide something. It was like they was trying to hide something. It was
Did it look like they were trying to help him at all?
No, ma'am. They was not trying to help him at all. Help him got in the back seat of the police car. They did that. They did that much, but they did not try to help him. Talking about as far as see was he okay, check his pulse, anything. No, ma'am. They didn't do anything. They threw him in the back seat of the police car, face down. So no, ma'am. They did not.
Now, for those that say, how could you have heard everything? Were you very close to this?
I was there. Yes, ma'am. I was inside my car, and I'm trying to see. I can't explain how far I was, but I was there. You can hear the officer, and the officer was talking pretty loud too. I'm parked right here beside the police car. I was right there beside the police car, and like the little circle in the video, you can see me, my car, the blue car. I was right there in the circle in the video, and the car, he wasn't even 6. The car wasn't even 6 feet away from me. So of course, I'm hearing everything they're saying.
Now, you know, T, do you know him to, now this is going to be very personal, but this is stuff that I know that people are wondering as they're listening to this. Do you know him to have been a drug dealer, drug abuser, anything like that?
No, never. I never known for him to do talking about be a drug dealer. Never. I never known for him to be on drugs. He have smoked in his past. Like I know him for him to smoke cigarette, marijuana here and there, but he has stopped smoking. So definitely no. Past, yes, I have known for him smoking. I have known for him to smoke marijuana. That's nothing further than that.
So when you heard about that he was given Narcan, because you know Narcan is for to revive people that possibly have overdosed.
From
when
opiates,
you heard
right?
that, what was your first thought?
Right.
The first thing I said was no way. That's I knew then that it was gonna be they was trying to cover something up. Because for one, Narcan from my understanding for opiates. I never known for him to do opiates. Never. And I'm 30 years old, and the 30 years of me living, and I've known him my whole life because he's my first cousin. I've never known for him to do opiates. Never. So I knew then why when they said something about Narcan, I said, well, Narcan, that don't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all.
So why do you think that they talked about trying to give him something for overdose? Why do you think they would do that?
Because they're trying to cover up what happened. They're trying to cover up what they did to him.
And what do you think they did?
I think they tased him. I know whatever that happened in the woods was uncalled for. It was over. They used too much. They was using a lot of force. I know that much because, like I said, he's very strong. That's my very first cousin. He's a very strong guy, and for him to see him that weak and not be able to walk, I knew it was something. I don't know exactly what happened. I know that it was something that was not lawful. It was not very lawful. Whatever they did, it was. They broke some laws. I know that much.
Well, we know they broke laws all the way from pulling them out the woods all the way to the jail. So, I mean, who knows?
So now he shows up at the jail. We know that there's a dispatch report saying that they called EMS and he had a faint pulse. So I want you to talk, Stephen, about what happens when people are actually taken to the jail. What is the process that happens when they get there?
Screw up a little bit with you. Oh, you okay? You all right? Unfortunately, I've had some experiences in there, but I've learned to be a better man. The process is that you come up to the Sally Port. They'll put their squat. They'll hit the radio, and they'll say 10-4 or whatever their code is to the Sally Port. Roll the door, and from there you'll go in. Officer will get out of his car. They'll get the door shut. They'll shut the door before anyone opens one of the back cages up. They got to go lock their gun up. If they have any rifle or anything in their front seat, it's got to be locked. So any weapons they have on them gets placed in a lockbox, and it gets locked. Then from there, they open up the back door, and the jail staff will have the door open, and you'll walk in and you'll go over to where the camera is so they can do your booking and get your name. Do you have any medical conditions? Is there anything we need to know about it? All that kind of jazz. So, I mean, it's pretty basic. It's pretty much routine across the entire country. They'll roll you into Sally Port, pop the door, pull you out the back, walk you into the jail, sit down where the booking section is. And, after that, once the cop fills out his arrest report, that his reason for arrest to give the jail, he'll either leave and go back to, his station to fill out the rest of his report. He may stay there for a little longer. I mean, once you get into the jail, I mean, before you'll get patted down and checked, get your fingerprints taken, get your picture taken. They'll ask you a battery of questions. Have you ever had tuberculosis? Do you have AIDS? Are you on any form of narcotics? Do you have anything on you? Do you have any gang members or any gang affiliations here that, we need to be aware about? Their names, this and that. We want to keep you safe. And they'll ask you all their questions. And then from there, you'll get placed in a holding cell. And you may be in the holding cell depending on, if you tell them, hey, my folks are going to make bond on Monday if you're there on the weekend. Hey, I got money. My folks are getting my money up. Man, they won't even bother bringing you to the back. They'll let you sit up there for 3 days, and they'll give your folks and yourself a chance to make your bond.
Okay, so that sounds like a very lengthy process. But when T showed up, he didn't get a chance to go through all of that because they saw him and didn't allow him admittance. Now, I've had some people inbox me about what happened once they got to that jail. I've heard he had a faint pulse. I have heard he was dead upon arrival. Heard that there was someone who actually worked on him at the jail, and they couldn't help him. They waited too late. Do you believe, Selena, and you, Stephen, do we believe that time could have led, the lack of them acting urgently could have led to his death?
110%.
I think so also. And I think it was delayed. Like you think about it, he went to hiring you instead of going directly to jail. That was uncalled for. That was time wasted right there.
Then
they stood around talking. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
They also stood around talking for a second, and they couldn't make
5 minutes worth of talking.
Stood around talking, and they were there long. It didn't make sense to me.
So, do you think that the police, when they were out there, obviously they were being recorded? Do you think they saw it? They saw people recording them?
Yes, they had to. Cause I would say they did. I would say they, based on their attitudes, and not just that. The reason why I said they did too, because they was rushing to throw him in the backseat of the car. They was in a rush. Had you seen it, you were like, yeah, something ain't right. They was rushing to throw him in the backseat of the car. They was rushing to. They was speed walking him across the parking lot.
Speed dragging him.
There you go. Speed dragging her out there across the parking lot. So I'm sure they knew somebody was recording.
When do you think T took his last breath, Selena?
I think T took his last breath when Esther was pulling him from around that apartment complex. When he became what you call it, limp. When his body became limp and he couldn't stand up straight, that's when he took his last breath.
So if somebody told you that on his body there were taser burns, would you believe it?
I absolutely would. Yes, ma'am.
Because what I would like to know is a little bit more information about where everybody's getting this idea that he was tased and pepper sprayed if it was happening in the woods. How do we know that's what was going on?
I've heard several stories. I also know someone personally that actually heard the whole encounter. That heard him asking the officers for water, telling the officers that he couldn't breathe. So I've heard this someone who stayed right there beside the woods that they was dragging him out of. He stayed closer to the location that I do, that it actually took place in or whatever. He actually told me that he heard him. He didn't know who he was at the time. But he actually heard him asking the officers, begging them for something to drink, some water rather. Then he said he asked him for some water, and he also was screaming. He heard him scream and telling him he couldn't breathe. So whatever they said, whatever. Besides he overdosed, he didn't overdose. I don't care what they said. They never took place. Dumb people killed him. They killed him in the woods. I ain't gonna say killed in the woods. I'm gonna say he was almost dead in the woods. But as they was bringing him, think about your body have been through all of that stress and all, traumatic or whatever.
We brought that up on the last show.
As they was bringing him up out the woods, you trying to walk. You have no more energy left. He took his last breath. I don't care what nobody said. He was already dead before they took him to the police station.
So when it comes to this, Do you think that when there were people out there, was anybody else interacting with the police that you noticed out there?
I didn't know nobody because everybody's scared of the officers around here. These people they hostile. Their attitude is nasty. You can't
Really
ask them
nasty.
nothing. If you ask them something, I'm surprised he didn't threaten to lock me up. That's why after he got to walking away, I just let it alone because they're very hostile. Anytime you ask them a question about anything that's going on, if it's your people getting locked up, them people is very hostile. These officers, their attitude stinks. So
really does.
nobody didn't know. I didn't see nobody else ask them this. I asked them. I was the one who talked to the officer.
Have you had any interaction with a police officer since T passed?
Yes, ma'am, I have. I got pulled over and it took 5 officers to pull me over and search my car and everything.
Why did they search your car?
I have no idea.
Did you give him permission to search your car?
He told me to step outside the car. He asked me, do I smoke and do I have anything illegal in my car? And I told him, no. Actually, I was headed to the hospital because I had real bad migraines. And I got pulled over across from, in the old parking lot of Winn-Dixie. And the first officer, he was being petty. He played the song Bad Boys. You know the song Bad Boys, Bad Boys. He got playing that song loud on the loudspeaker. And
which cop was it?
He's a new officer. I don't know what his name is, but
is it a white guy or black
guy?
White.
He's a white guy. And it was on night shift. It was after 6 o'clock because I know the shift changed at 6. It was after 6 o'clock. It was night shift that pulled me over. And there was 6 officers. It took 6 carloads. And I have a video on my phone of them, of all the officers. It was just me, my sister.
I believe that's the same officer that pulled my wife over that stalked her.
So when they pulled you over, what did they say that caused them to search your car? Because you have to have probable cause for that.
No, he asked me. He said, "Do you have anything illegal?" Well, for one, he know my car because I have to get a sticker for the back of my car. And so I said, "Why did you pull me over?" He said, "Well, I know that you don't have any license and insurance." I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "I'm working on it." And he said, well, he got everybody's name in the car, went around the car. And then by this time, backup had came. I said, well, what they call it backup for? I don't have any warrants. Nobody in the car had warrants. And so he ended up, after the backup came, he asked me to step outside. He didn't tell me what was the reason for the search of the car. He asked me to have anything illegal, and I told him no. So he asked my cousin first, told her to step outside the car. And then he told me to step outside the car. He wanted to question my brother, but he's 17. I told him he couldn't question him because he was a minor.
Right.
And so he made all of his stuff outside the car. They went through the trunk. They went through the McDonald's bag. They went through everything in the car. And like I told, wasn't nothing illegal up in there. But they ended up finally let me go. But in the midst of all this going on, they standing around laughing and talking, and 5 officers, it was uncalled for. So yes, I have had an encounter.
They've done that to me several times, and they just did that to my wife 2 weeks ago, right after we got done with the show. Yeah, the same.
Do either one of you think that you were targeted?
I think I am.
100%.
I know I am.
I'm just used to it. It's sad.
Why do you know you are, Selena?
Because I feel like because I spoke up on what happened to my cousin on the news for one, and I'm sure that everybody saw it.
Yep.
So that right there alone is a reason for them to target me. This is my rover, and like I said, the officers are very hostile. They try to put fear in people, but
they do.
I'm God fearing one. They can't put up fear. So I'm still gonna say what I want to say, and if I'm gonna speak up for what's right.
And you obviously think you were targeted as well, Stephen. You and your wife.
Absolutely. See, when we were talking about on the last show, within just a couple of days after our show, because it was over the weekend, wasn't it?
It was. I had a bit work on Thursday, Wednesday night.
It was 6 days after the show, and my wife had to go get some baby wipes or whatever it was over at the Dollar General, and she went over to the Dollar General by Clausel, and she was on the bypass, and mind you, John. He's coming this way down the bypass towards Clausel. My wife's going back towards Red and White to go turn into the neighborhood to go make her way back to where he was. Now, as soon as he saw my wife's car, all right, he immediately flipped around and started following her and followed her for 6-7 blocks as she made her turns, weaving through the neighborhood and with no lights on. And I mean, it took long enough for her to call me up and say, "Hey, sweetie, a cop just swung around in traffic and started following me, and he's been following me for several blocks. I don't know what to do. I need you to stay on the phone with me in case I try to do something. And of course I did. And the officer pulled her over just 2 blocks from my house. And his reason was for an expired tag. Well, as we talked before on the last show, the tag that was expired on my wife's car is only expired by a month. It's still in 2026. It still has a red tag. Red tags run all the way up until November. These cops are trained to look at the color codes of the tags. Now, if you had maybe a green one on, a yellow one, you would be able to go, oh, okay, that one's expired. That would give you the reason to turn around. Well, you're not going to be able to, when you pass my wife at a calculated speed of 75 to 80 miles an hour, you're doing 35, 40. My wife's doing 35. You're not going to tell me that you looked in your rear view mirror and you're able to read out the actual date on the plate. No, you're trained to look at the color. So my point is that my wife's car looks beat up. It's sun faded. There's rust on it. I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb. We're kind of brokish at the moment. We're just getting by, So I mean, the two vehicles that we drive are very unique. You know that we're driving them. So the point that I'm getting at is that when he told her, when she asked him, what's the reason that you pulled me over? Oh, your tag's expired. Well, when he seen my wife's tag in hindsight, glance at going through traffic, it would have looked like it was good. Because like I said, it was just expired by a month. So it still meets the 2026 month all the way up till November. Why in the world would you go and swing around on a plate that already looks legit? All right. No. What they did is they saw my wife's car. Maybe I was driving it. Maybe I wasn't. All it was, they knew it was my car. And they swung around, followed her for 6, 7 blocks, and then pulled her over 2 blocks from the house. So, and then now I showed up on the scene, and this young cop, he's kind of about my height, 5'6", 5'7", 8-ish. Not really tall. He's a little chubby, and he's got a little cushion to him. And he's young. I could tell that he's probably, in his middle 20s. He ain't quite yet 30. He's a young guy. I've never seen him before. And I asked him, how long have you been on the force? I haven't seen you before. He said, I just started last year. This is my first year on the job. All right. Well, the one younger black cop that it looks like a fairly new hire, he got up right behind him like he wanted to kiss him on the back and was whispering real quiet where I couldn't hear him. And he was pointing over towards me. And he got right up behind him and was whispering into his ear. And I could see him glancing and looking back at me. I couldn't hear what he said, but what I felt is when the second officer showed up and we're all sitting there talking because they're waiting for the sheriffs to pick my wife up for the child support crap, which she was let out for free in the morning. But anyways, I feel that he was telling her, hey, look, man, that's that guy. Man, watch what you do. Because as soon as he started whispering to her, he didn't want to have anything to do with it. He didn't want to talk to me. He didn't want to really talk to my wife. He was just sitting there waiting for the sheriff's to pull up. He wouldn't even put my wife's in cuffs. Nothing. So I do believe 110%.
Yeah.
They did target my vehicle and initiated a bogus pullover.
Okay, so Selena, have you since that day? Well, first of all, did they give you a ticket? Did they give you anything, or just let you go?
They didn't give me no ticket or nothing. That's
Okay.
what I find odd, because why would you stop my car, search my car, then
Without probable cause.
without probable cause, and then I didn't get no ticket or anything. It's crazy.
So, have you had any contact with anyone else in Monroeville regarding T?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Have you had any contact with anyone else in Monroeville regarding T, this case, or anything like that? Like, did
No,
any
ma'am.
of the police officers come and talk to you about?
No, I have had one officer, Brandon Wiggins. He came to me. He worked day shift. He did come to me. Yeah, he came to me and he told me that he was sorry about my loss. He hated it happened to him because he knew the person or whatever. And that's the only person that actually spoke to me about it. But he didn't go into detail. He just told me he was sorry about what happened to him. And that's about it.
So how do you feel in Monroeville that they're just quiet? I mean, do you think it's just because of the investigation, or you think they're just scared to talk about this? Like, what is your overall feeling about what you're seeing happening in Monroeville right now?
You talking about the officer? Or you talking about just people in general?
Just people in general, anything, the
I
officers,
think people
anything
scared.
surrounding
First of
them.
all, it's several people saw what happened. They scared to speak up because, like I said, the officers will target you. The officers right here will try to put fear into you. Yes, they will try to put fear into you. If they know you're against them, or they know that you don't speak up for what's right, they will try to put fear into you. So a lot of people is scared to even speak up about what they seen happen or heard happen. Because for one, like I said, these people they'll find a reason to mess with you.
They certainly will.
If they were watching you right now, let's just pretend the mayor and the police officers that dealt with let's say they're watching you right now, the ones that you dealt with that day out there. What would you like to say to them right now? If they were sitting here on the broadcast, what would you say to them?
I would tell them that they could have handled the situation differently. I think that it was very unprofessional of how they treated him, and also it was very unprofessional how the officer even spoke with me. And then for him to bring up something about a mental home, and he's never been in a mental home. Even if he had been in a mental home, it wasn't for him to tell me, because guess what? Who to say if I wasn't his cousin? There's a lot of stuff that they did that was very uncalled for. It's very unprofessional. And I would tell them that, very poor training. I feel like
they're not trained at all.
I lost my first cousin. They still living. And they're still back on the force, which is it ain't right. And if anything, I feel like somebody should have the decency to speak up and tell what really happened, because that ain't what happened. Ain't nothing's word that can tell me that's what happened. That ain't what happened.
So were you one of the ones at the city council meeting that day when the mayor addressed this?
No, ma'am, I did not go.
You didn't go, but you heard about it. Did you hear about it?
My sister went. My blood sister went.
And what did you feel about what did you feel about when you heard that the officers were back at work? How did that make you feel?
I was hurt because, for one, ain't no way in the world they ain't no way in the world that it was properly investigated. Not that fast, and they was back on the job. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know for myself whatever was going on was illegal. How they drove them across that cement. How in the world is they back on the force? I was hurt. I was mad. I was mad. I was angry. Because I'm like, ain't no way in the world.
And we've yet to be able to see if there were any actual real checks from other agencies, authorities, mental health, or anybody that actually gave the go-ahead for these officers to go back on duty. Was this just a decision made by Mandy? Was this just a decision that got made by the mayor? I mean, I don't feel that these officers went through any type of fitness checks. All right, because the turnaround that happened was way too fast, like we were just saying, and then with that murkiness there, how do you as a mayor and their boss go and put two people back on the force when there is an SBI investigation with a wrongful death sitting on your desk? That's so, the way that I feel that they're trying to treat it is act like everything's normal, sweep it underneath the table, and maybe it'll go away. But, well, you and I have been sitting here doing this now for a month. It ain't going away. Not going away.
Selena, what would you like to see from your either city council, mayor, police chief? What would you like to see from Monroe? What would you want them to do?
Well, for one, I want to see the body cam. The family rather would like to see what really happened back there in the woods. Instead of word of mouth, I could say anything. They could say anything, but them cameras, everybody should have, from my understanding, all the officers had body cameras on, because you're supposed to have them on anyway. This I do know. Okay, that alone should let you know something was illegal. For one, they didn't. It's a lot of officers. They have, what's the word for it? A lot of officers know it's by the last name Thompson. A lot of people know it. A lot of officers know it's already as Thompson. Not being that, we just outlaws, but they know the Thompson. So almost everybody know Thompson. Well, anyways, I feel like small community. Well, I feel like, for one, a lot need to be changed. A lot need to be changed. The officers need to be back. They don't need to be on their force, because, for one, like I said, from my understanding, they're supposed to protect and serve, and they wasn't doing. They was not protecting the community. No, they serving like they supposed to be doing.
They have a duty to protect, and they completely failed.
They did not protect. They did not do that. It was like, and then not just that. Let me go back and say this. It was also kids out there that when all this took place. It was children out there also. So it's a lot of things Monroe need to change. The male, I look at it like this real. What if it was his family? What if it was his cousin, his child, something like that? We have the same, attitude for what happened or whatever. I'm sure he wouldn't.
But he doesn't care about it.
He don't care. He don't care because it ain't his. It ain't his people. So
no.
Now I'm looking at a comment here from Billy. She says what they need to do is get rid of the mayor because he ain't SHIT. If they was in Mobile, it'll be different. So that's part of the consensus there. Now you in your district is City Councilwoman Thelma McDaniel, right? Have you ever met her?
No, ma'am.
She ever tried to reach out to your family or anybody?
What's her name?
Thelma McDaniel.
I never even heard of her. I don't know who she is. Never heard of her.
Sounds like another big goose egg.
I mean, she's the person that represents your area, and
I didn't know that because she didn't reach out. I don't know who she is. And like I said, the mayor swept up on the road. He ain't doing this in Monroe as it is. As far as like the officers get away with a lot of stuff in the road. Just like I was locked up for something, I was locked up for on March the 26th of last year for the same thing. It's a lot of stuff they doing wrong. They had to turn around and give me my money back through the mail for something that never even took place. It's a lot of stuff they doing wrong.
Okay, wait a minute. Talk to me about that. Say that. Tell me about that again.
You got the stage, girl.
Yes, last year, March the 26th, I ended up getting locked up because someone had filed a harassment charge against me. Mind you, I burned it out. On the harassment charge, and I went to court for it. Well, March 26th this year, I also got locked up for the exact same thing. How I remember the date because it's my son's birthday. I got locked up for the exact same thing and was put into the holding cell. It was a couple days before the situation happened with my cousin T. And they put me in the holding cell. I sat there for a minute. So I told them, I said, well, I need to speak to somebody. I need to speak to chief police or somebody, because y'all locked me up for the same thing I locked up for last year. And I'm telling y'all, now I'm going to get my lawyer. I'm going to get my lawyer, and I'm going to beat this right here. Y'all have to pay me because at the end of the day, y'all charging for something that I already paid y'all for. That was already thrown out. Well, come to find out, I went to court, and the judge threw it out again. They had to send me my money back for the same thing. I paid over $1,000 to get out of jail, burned it out, sat in jail on my son's birthday again for something that never took place.
Yep, Pat Bowen gave you $1,000 bond to get out. And to see the way, and I know this firsthand, thanks to Alfred Carter, who sucked, by the way, on harassment charges or harassing communication or anything like that. Pat Bowen, they don't investigate. They just go, oh, okay, well, here, sign this statement, and we'll go lock them up. So they don't do their due diligence to go and actually investigate, to go talk to the other person, or go look at phone records, go look at anything to prove that this happened. Pat Bowen just goes, oh, okay, she called you a B and, called your phone several times. Here, sign this statement and we'll go lock her up tomorrow. And she doesn't go and have any officers go and double check, hey, you got any evidence to prove this? Do you have, your phone record showing her number? It could have been someone used one of them spoofer apps. And it's like, okay, well, even if they did, you're still going to have to prove it. All right. What my point is that because it's happened to me with Alfred Carter, all right, with harassing communications, all they do is take a statement from the victim and they don't do any follow-up. And Pat Bowen just shoots it over to Milton Coxwell and they go and lock you up. Pat Bowen puts a warrant out on you, and the next thing you know, you're going up in front of Milton Coxwell, a city judge with a city DA and a city magistrate that signs your warrant. All right, it's completely one-sided. All they want is that money from you. That's it. They don't care about doing their job and looking it up and proving. All right, she'll prove her case in court. That's it. Lock her up, and that's what happened.
And I also got one thing to say.
Go ahead.
I also was like to say this too. Also, it's several, not just me, my sister. Also, they sometimes Pat, she will go back and she'll charge you twice for the same thing. You can have If you don't have your receipts, you'll be paying Monroe County forever.
I'm still paying Monroeville for shit 15 years ago.
After you've been paid them off, you got to have proof. You better the receipts that been print out. You better keep them because she will charge you for the same thing several times, and she'll tell you that you still owe on something that's already paid for. Monroe County don't care nothing about nothing but money.
I've been requesting an audit on my account for the last several years. She won't do it. Oh, and I asked her, well, I want a printout of all the money of anything that you ever received, ever paid. That woman told me it's going to cost me $5 a page.
Mm-hmm.
So, Selena, you mentioned something earlier. You said that they know you guys as the Tunstalls. What did you mean by that when you said they know us as Tunstalls? What does that mean?
Well, they knew my mom. The officers know my mom. They knew my Uncle James, Tunstall. Well, James T. I knew him by James T. And a couple officers have came to me and asked me was I his niece. So yeah, they know. That's how they know me. They know me because for one, my mom, she was back and forth in jail, but she eventually slowed down over years. But they know most Tunstals. They know it not because we were outlaws, but just by the last name.
So do you think that has something to do with you being arrested, T being targeted? You think that's what?
Yes, absolutely. Because for one, they hated my Uncle James T. The James Tunstall, they hated him. So yes, of course, they have a lot to do with it.
When you say they hated him, why did they hate him?
Because he gave them a run for their money. Like he did a lot of running from them and stuff like that. So they didn't like him. They hated him.
In his earlier days.
Yeah, his earlier days, but they hated him. They hated my Uncle James.
Same thing.
He didn't care. He would tell them how it was in the face, what it was, and what it wasn't. And
now I want for the record for you to state, okay, were you twisted or promised anything about being on this show today?
No, ma'am. Absolutely not.
And you just received a phone call from me asking you to be a guest, and you agreed. Why did you agree?
Because I feel like the people didn't know the truth. People didn't know what Nick said from my eyes. Because I was there. I was one of the witnesses that actually seen them pulling him from the woods. And I want to speak the truth. I want to let these people know what really happened and how low down these people really is in Monroe County. How none of these people is for us. Nobody. They're not for us at all.
So I just dropped
my cousin. I feel like we need justice. People need to know what we want justice for our family. Our family wants justice.
We need the Department of Justice here to audit everything they've been doing to all of us for a long time.
I definitely want to get into that. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I want you guys to see here. I want y'all to click here. If you have not had the opportunity to go over and sign the petition, please click on this link. We're a little bit away from being halfway there, guys. Let me tell you why this is important. Because this shows that you have a community of people that are fed up. That's what this says. And that we need someone to look at this. If you guys remember from the video, Representative Thomas Jackson said he reached out to the AG to get involved. Now, I don't know what has happened since then, but that is exactly what this petition is all about. It's about getting the AG involved because Monroeville needs federal oversight. Do you agree, Stephen?
Oh, 110%.
Absolutely.
I mean, it took me driving up and spending my money at Kinko's, hotel, fuel, and like I said before, I had to have my wife smuggle me out of the county in the trunk of my Jaguar, all right, to get there, all right. They knew that I was planning something and I was going to expose them. It took me having to literally have to get hidden in my trunk of my car to be driven out the county, spend 4 days at the Capitol, all right, and meet with every agency underneath the sun and deliver all my paperwork on all the wrongness that's been going on back then, which now we see back then, like I said before, we had Alfred Carter, Tom Tate, and Mandy Armstrong, and they were all a clique. They were all in cahoots with each other. And then, as we know, Mandy sued her way into getting her position in now. She didn't earn it under merit, all right, and she gallivants as a coach, isn't over at the police station half the time. I mean, I've been told by many officers that I know that she is hardly in the office. Where is she? She's not doing her job. She's getting paid a salary, all right, out of our tax dollars, all right, to do her job and manage these officers and do what she needs to. But those girls shaking her butt over at a basketball court is a whole lot more important than making sure that people aren't dying in her custody.
Now, Selena, you're shaking your head. You know this to be true as well?
Yes, I do. One thing, Mandy don't come out unless it's a drug bust or something like that. Right?
Yep.
You don't see Mandy.
Nope.
I bet I had forgot about Mandy work for the police force because you don't see her. Even when you go up there to the police station, you don't
She
see
ain't
her.
there. Her car's not there.
You never
She's
see
never
Mandy.
there.
Wow. So
yeah,
I want you to do this, Selena, because I want you to get everything that you need out of this show. That's the reason I brought you here. If you had to speak to the Attorney General, because they're going to look at our petition and they're going to read it, but I want them to have a first listen from someone in the family about how you feel about Monroeville Police Department, and how this case has been handled. And I want you to speak from a representative of what the family feels. I want you to take your time, think about everything that's happened, and I want you to look in that camera and speak to the Attorney General right now, please.
Well, I want the Attorney General. I would like for the Attorney General to do a thorough investigation, for one, because like I said, it's not being investigated like it's supposed to be investigated. It's not being taken serious. And how I know it's not being taken serious by Monroe because of what the mayor said at the meeting. For one, that's the first, the first what's the word for it?
Step.
Yeah, the first
What
step.
did he say? What did he say that made you? I want you to be specific. What did the mayor say that made you feel some kind of way?
Well, from my understanding, he said that this case wasn't important. He said that they got in more part stuff to be saying about it and talking about it, whatever. And that's not fair. How someone death not important? How can you say that's not important? Death, period. It's important to anybody, the officers,
Especially when it happened in your hands.
The officers that's right in his hands. So it's not fair. I feel like the Attorney General should investigate because our family want answers. We really want answers. We want the body cameras. We want to see what really happened. We need statements from each officer. Of course, they're gonna stick together, but get them. I feel like they should not still be on the force at the moment. Not at least until the investigation is over. How are they even allowed back on the force when the investigation is, it have been a thorough investigation. The autopsy haven't came back yet. So how is they still allowed on the force? It's not. I don't think it's fair to our family at all. Not just our family, the public, period. Because in other words, I look at it like this right here. My life is in their hands. The officers, if you call the police right now, our life is in their hands. So I feel like why are officers still up on the force when we can't even trust them? The community can't even trust them anymore. Why are they back on the force?
Has anyone from law enforcement in Monroeville reached out to your family to offer their condolences?
Not that I know of. Not me. They haven't reached out to me. I know that much. Like I said, the only one that have reached out to me, he seen that store was Brandon. I can't say Brandon did, That's the only person that I know of. And all of them know us. They know me. They know my family. So, yeah.
There's some controversy around how Sharon found out about T's death. I want you to clear that up because there's been speculation that the police called her, but I don't know if you know anything about it. So if you know anything about that, can you share that with us?
I'm not sure exactly how she found out. I heard different. I heard bits and pieces of what happened, but I do know that she didn't hear from my understanding, that she didn't hear from the officer until later on that he had passed. And she should have been the first person contacted because it is his mama.
Now, for those of you that are just tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, we are speaking with Selena today. Selena is one of the eyewitnesses of the dragging. The dragging video went viral back on March 30th. And so we wanted to bring one of the guests. We wanted to bring a surprise guest here today so she can tell you from her viewpoint what actually happened. Now, is there anything that you wanted to say that you saw happen that you didn't, that hasn't been in the news, that nobody knows about? Is there anything?
Yes, I said for one, they never mentioned the fact that they prolonged take him to the police station. They didn't mention that. Manny didn't mention that. Manny also told a lie. He was never in my prison. He was never responsible. He never talked to the office. He didn't even talk to me. And I'm his first cousin. Like I said, he called me and asked me, to come by with him. So I'm knowing that was mentioned. The lie, that was lies told in the news. What Manny said was a lie. That was a lie. How could she say what happened when she wasn't there? How can she even say that? Of course, your officer gonna they all stick together around here. Of course, she gonna, she gonna say what her officer tell her. But no, that's the first lie that was told was he was responsible. The second lie that was told was he's always like that or something. She said that's a lie. If T could have stood up, he would have stood up. It's something I know. He would have stood up. And then they also put in the news that how the officer that I spoke with the officer and then he said something about his mental health. He said something about his mental health and they did not call any ambulance on the scene at the time if he's supposed to have been, from my understanding, pepper spray. Supposed to been going through a mental episode. And how I figured they said a mental episode because he said, well, the way he acting like he want to go back to a mental home. That right there alone knew that he was not in his right mental state. So I feel like it's a lot that was not mentioned up on the news that should have been mentioned. But instead, Manny wanted to be,
Blase.
And she didn't tell the truth. If she was going to tell the truth, she should have told the whole truth, and it was not the whole truth.
How are you coping with his death?
It's hard because you think about it, I stayed right there. I stayed in the apartments where it happened in. And I got to go through there every day and relive the image of seeing him drugged. It is not fair at all to my family, not just to me, but my family also. My family come visit, it ain't right at all.
So I don't know if we covered this, but one of the things that I heard about that day is that when the officers put him in the car, there were some that went back to the woods. If I said that that's what I heard, would you agree that that's what you witnessed as well?
Yes, ma'am. The lady officer, the short, stocky lady, white lady. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So did they wait for her to come from back there before they all left?
I'm not 100% sure on that. Now that I can't say because I ended up after the officer, after I spoke to the officer, and I know they was not going to leave right then and there. I ended up pulling back around, but from my stance, you can still, if you stand in the middle of the road, well, not middle of the road, right in the middle of my yard, rather, you can still look across the street from where it happened and whatever. You can see what exactly what's going on. So I can't really say, I can't say too much of they waited on her to leave. I know they postponed leaving. They stood around talking as if they were trying to come up with a story of what really was going on. They knew he was not responsible.
That's key. That is key because if T was limp and we saw in the video that he was unresponsive, why would they not leave there in a hurry to try to get him some help?
None of them. Well, from like I said, cause when I left from the little circle where they had me, I stood in my yard and I watched from distance. Until they ended up getting ready to leave. The lady officer was one of the last ones to leave. Now I can't say that she was one of the last ones to leave, whatever. And I can say from while I'm looking at them at, nobody went to the back seat of the car to check on him, see if he okay. Mind y'all, they put him in their face down, her hands behind his back. Nobody went back there to check them. Nobody went back there to check on him to see if he okay.
Were there people yelling at them and saying, like, I want you to take me back to that day because I want to make sure we don't miss anything? Were there people just kind of like, hey, what are y'all doing?
Most people was quiet. I didn't hear nobody yelling. They was quiet because people, the way they do people around here, they will put fear in you unless you just, unless you just not a scared person or for what's right. They'll put fear into you. If you're allowed them to put fear into you.
I want to hear more about that because this is something that stuff like this is what causes federal the oversight to come in because they're like, wait a minute, we may need, this is why, let me just say this before I go forward. This is why I keep talking about getting an independent investigation into Monroeville, not only just to go in there to look at what happened with T, but to see if they have a pattern of misconduct and abuse of power going on in the Monroeville Police Department.
Yes, definitely. I feel like they need to be the whole Monroe County Police Force need to be investigated. I've been locked up there in the county jail. I had to go to the hospital 3 times for my mental health and for being sick up there. Them people you can ring for someone to come check on you. Them people it took my sister begging them to take me to the hospital and they ended up having to let me out. But they're low down. They wouldn't stop fearing to you. If you allow them to, they wouldn't stop it. They will harass you. They will continue to pull you over. If you speak up on one of them, they will harass. They work in groups, and not just one, but it be a group of them.
Yeah,
groups of them. They gotta have a pack of them, but they pack up together on each shift. It's certain individuals on each shift that You say something about one of them, believe me, they will harass you.
And that goes back into poor management with Mandy and not controlling her officers.
Has anyone ever complained, Selena, in Monroeville that you know of?
Before all this even happened with my cousin T. You know, I've complained about how the police officer harassed. I had a sheriff that was harassed me one time. I'm not sure his name, but he's redheaded. He was kept pulling me up, kept harassing me, and I told him I was gonna sue them because at this point you're harassing me. After that, I didn't have no more issues, so I went up there to the police station and I talked to I told Mandy. Mandy told me that she was gonna get someone, not Mandy, but Miss Pat. Because this Pat, I went to the Pat office or whatever, and I need to speak to somebody. At the time, she said, well, nobody in for me to speak to. But after that, after I told the officer that I was going to sue them and I was going to get my lawyer because at this point, you're harassing me. You got me scared to ride around the road with my own vehicle because you keep pulling me over. I didn't have any more issues with him after they were done. I don't even think he worked for the force anymore.
I had the same problem with Michael Gibson.
Yeah. Gibson is another one. He's another one that harassed me. But it's a paradigm. They will install fear into you if you allow them to.
It took me threatening telling Mandy that I'd kill him if he kept arguing with me.
It's terrible. It's terrible how they treat the citizens around here.
So what would you like to say to the people to encourage them to sign the petition? Because we have a petition out here, and this petition is going to hopefully get the Attorney General involved. What would you like to say to the people who haven't signed, they're on the fence? What would you like to say to them?
I would like to tell the people that what if it was their family? Would they want to know the truth, you know? Not even just that, not even just about my family. It's the fact that if you have been through, you know, the neglect, the abuse, even at the county jail, not even just, you know, them pulling you over, harassing you and stuff. If you ever had any issue with any police in Monroe County, you think that they need to be, you know, spoken up and talked about. I feel like everybody, you need to sign it. You need to sign it. I mean, what if it was one of your kids? What if it was you? What if it was a family member? When you want to know the truth also? So I feel like do what's right. Because if it was me, if it was their family, I would definitely, I don't care who it is, I'm for what's right. I would definitely sign that petition because I feel like not just the family want to know the truth. I feel like a lot of residents want to know the truth also. Citizens in Monroe want to know what really happened. Because of course everybody, I ain't gonna say everybody, but most people know that them lies they've been told. They know that.
And Mandy's known to be a liar.
And something need to be done. Something need to be done. Something need to be done. Not just the police officer, the mayor don't need to be up in the seat because he's low down. He's low down. It's a lot of dirty hands in Monroe County.
When you say he's low down, what do you mean?
For one, you think about what that man said. What is that to say to a grieving family? Well, it definitely ain't important. It's not important. What is that for you to tell a grieving family? That's not right. That's not right. I'm sure, I don't care what he said, ain't no way in the world that they did a proper investigation. They're trying to cover themselves. That's what they're trying to do. See what they thought was, they thought that he didn't have family that cared about him. That's what it was. They didn't know it was going to go this far.
Now, I want to show both of you guys something. I want y'all to take a look at this. These are three of the scenarios that can happen when SBI is done with their investigation and then it gets over to the DA. I want you guys both to look at these reasons right here, Stephen. They could be cleared of wrongdoing. This is where the agency will claim that there's no criminal intent. This is the scenario you must be prepared to fight. They could say that there's a referral for prosecution. They find undeniable evidence. They refer it to the DA. This is rare. It usually only happens when public pressure is overwhelming. Or you can have administrative lead policy review. They find no criminal act, but acknowledge policy failures. This is how you keep officers from being charged.
Well, 1, 2, and 3 was 100% completely violated. There's no way that you could have did that within just 2 weeks. Number one, we have, the SBI is handling an investigation that's going to be turned over to the DAs for possible prosecution against the officers involved. All right. There's obviously blatant policy issues, but see, that's where top cop Mr. Mayor, all right, is thinking that he can use his influence because of his seat that he holds as a mayor, that he is the one that can be able to take 1, 2, and 3 and make that decision all himself. It's clear that these officers have not been clear for a fitness of duty check whatsoever. And the fact that, It's been nothing but crickets, as we've said so many times. It's super quiet. I mean, why, if everything's okay, all right, and I'm just going to say it like this: if everything is okay, everything's on the up and up, nothing went wrong, there would be transparency, there would be communication with the public, especially the family. Something. Yeah. There has been nothing. Zero, double O goose eggs here. All right. So the fact that the mayor knows that there is an active SBI investigation with the event, all right, that very well may be very well be turned over to the DA's office for possible prosecution, reckless endangerment, manslaughter, freaking possibly murder, who knows, I mean, there's several charges that are already out there in the wind that could be brought against these officers. Criminal negligence is at least a far cry minimum, all right, but the point that because of skipping over just into, there is an investigation that is being done by the SBI and is going to be turned over to the DAs. The DAs haven't even got it yet, all right, that we know of. I mean, I've talked to one of my sources last week, and the DAs have not gotten that yet. So how could the mayor go and make along with Mandy, all right, which, well, she's never had her job, so whatever to her, but how could you, Mandy, and the mayor make the decision to place these officers back on duty when the investigation isn't even done?
Exactly.
And that leaves, and that itself puts a gross negligence of possible more wrongdoing and threat to the public. These at least the minimum, the 3 officers that were there, the 2 that were dragging teeth, and then the small little short cop, all right, which was supposed to retire last year, but for whatever reason is still working. I mean, she said she was going to retire. Told my wife that she was going to retire last year. Her numbers came up to punch retirement. So, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. My point is that you had a minimum of 3 officers involved with Mr. Tunstall at that time that allowed all of themselves to drag that man, throw him in the back of the car, mosey him around, take their sweet time to even get him to the jail instead of taking him directly to the hospital. Because see, this is like what she said a moment ago. Is there was a call that came out on the radio in the time frame of him getting to the jail that the officer called out and said possible OD. Well, let's just go with the scenario that the officer is believing that there is a possible subject ODing in the back of his car, or at bare minimum having a severe medical episode. I mean, it was enough to assume an OD. Why would you drive the man slow as molasses to the county jail instead of take him to put them cherries and berries on, hit that siren, and hightail your ass immediately to the hospital and get that man to the hospital? That is a gross negligence in it by itself by the officer in the transport. So not only do we have gross negligence, all right, possible assault, all right, for dragging them across the pavement, that's definitely assault of nature, all right, and then the complete negligence on all 3 of those officers and taking the bare minimum to go, hey, man, yo, are you all right, man? Have you taken anything? Do you have any heart conditions that we need to know about? Man, do you need to walk? Anything? Like we said so many times in the last videos, none of those questions were asked to T. He was treated, man, like a bad dog that you didn't care for. They didn't do anything for him to ensure his safety. See, the one thing that these officers are trained, if they are trained, which obviously we can tell that their training is lack to nil, all right, that even though that you're dealing with a suspect, you still have a duty to protect that person too. Just because that person may have committed a crime, that's why we have a judge, that's why we have a jury. You're innocent until you are found guilty. So all of your rights are afforded to you no matter what. It doesn't matter what you did. If you started falling out and were sick and having a problem, no matter whether you were doing something wrong and you needed to go to jail or not, that officer still has the duty to protect your life as well. So what if you're coming over there for some baby mama drama or whatever, some just nuisance call, all right, that doesn't give you the right to go, well, the hell with this guy, whatever, he's got a warrant, We're just going to treat them the way we want to. Every single thing as an officer, and I watch a lot of police training videos. I watch a lot of police from independent journalists all around the country. I watch training episodes. I watch what officers are being trained in other jurisdictions all around the nation. All right. And the number one thing that's beat into these cops, no matter whether they have to shoot one of these people, even if you have to shoot the suspect, all right, as soon as the threat is curtailed, there's no more threat, they're immediately trying to save your life. They're not just going to stand over you and watch you bleed out. All right.
Yeah.
Just let you die. Their the number one thing is not only to protect the community, but protect the people that they're confronting. And the fact that all three of these officers gave absolutely no F's whatsoever to even care an iota, a rice grain worth of care to make sure that Tunstall wasn't having some type of episode. All right. And the fact, and I'm going to say it one more time, the fact that it's very possible that the officer made a call out was already questioning in his mind was that he maybe ODing some type of medical episode that was an emergency manner. Why did you take your sweet ass time to drive him to the jail and try to dump him off in the jail instead of take him directly to the police over to the emergency room? If I was an officer, and I'm just saying it, all right, and I know a lot of cops, I have a lot of cop friends still, all right, and we've talked a lot about this case. I'm not going to name their names, all right. We all, all right, believe that if we had an unresponsive subject in the back of our car and you're like, hey, buddy, yo, hey, man, hey, can you hear me? And you're unresponsive, man, our first thing that's going through our head is, this guy is hurt and we're not going to the jail. We're going directly to the hospital. We're calling EMS and telling the emergency room, hey, we have an unresponsive subject in custody, and we are on our way to the emergency room right now. Have a stretcher waiting, all right? He may need a defibrillator, whatever. That is part of your training. But, well, when you don't have medical insurance or CMI, like I've said so many times before, all right, and you have a habit of dumping people off in the jail, all right, and running away from them because, they still have county holds. If you have a county hold, well, even though that it's a city charge that is new, if you have a county hold, well, their insurance is going to kick in. And the fact that, again, they've been told many a times from many people, and they've had meetings about this, that they need to have a charter with the county, all right, to absorb some part of their policy for CMI, some type of casualty insurance and health insurance for the people that they take into custody because the city doesn't have it. They've been warned. It's only going to be a matter of time until one of your officers screw up, run a stop sign, all right, and get someone hit. You have someone have an OD. You have someone have a heart attack. You're going to arrest somebody, and they're going to have some type of medical emergency, and you're not going to have the insurance to cover it.
So, guys, I want us to wrap this show up so we can talk about what it is that we need. Because I want to assume that we have NAACP watching, ACLU watching, SPLC watching. All of these people were tagged for this story. So I want to make sure that we are putting out what we definitely need. It looks like there's a consensus of people here that definitely are not feeling the mayor. That he needs to be removed. Police department is his responsibility. That's what I've been saying. Because, he's just very lackadaisical. I know he's had some
very lackadaisical.
He's had some health issues, and I'm sorry, I care about that, but I can't care about that more than I care about this, because there are ways for you to put someone who is healthy in place. That's why you have a pro tem. That's why you have backup, because the city can't just stop just because one person is ill. We still have a real situation here. And because the reason we're having to have these shows, Monroeville, is because you guys aren't doing anything. Nobody. The one thing that I did see them try to do in the community is they had someone come to city council and pray the other day. Okay. Is that something that you guys, is that good enough for you, Selena?
No, ma'am, it's not. It's not. It's not at all. I mean, what is prayer gonna do if ain't nothing changed?
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks late too, by the way.
Yeah, what good is the prayers gonna do if nothing changed?
Really late.
But there have been some people from the community, from the religious community, Christian community, that have reached out to you, to your family. Yes.
You know,
And how does that feel to know that there are some people that
it
care?
felt it felt good being the fact that we do know people. Some people still care, you know, because the way, like I said, the way the mayor and the officers is treating this is it's crazy. It's crazy. Act like he just, oh well, he'll be okay. He'll be back alive tomorrow. That which we can never bring him back. T had kids, you know, he got family. It's just crazy.
They're still making a paycheck, get to go home and hug their kids.
Say it. Say it. Like, listen, guys, you know, I had somebody send this to me about the situation where they went to the city council and prayed, and there was prayer and all this kind of stuff. And they sent that to me. And I am never going to be the person who doesn't appreciate prayer. You know, we have to pray. We pray here on this show. However,
And we're still going to.
here's the thing. And historically, this is usually where it ends. Because city council, and let me just say to you, city council, I see you. Okay. I'm telling you that I see through that, because we want to make sure everything is calm. They may be getting ready to deliver us some bad news, and they need to make sure, you guys, you know, let's get the community together and pray. Well, listen, if I had been at city council, which I know they will never invite me, because I'm not leaving empty-handed. I understand, because praying, that's great. Thank you for bringing everybody together. Why don't you use that platform, which is what it's for, to bring the community together, to make changes in the community when it's failing? Your community is failing. Okay. So
That means they
don't
lose all their
try
jobs.
to
They don't want
appease
that.
us. Don't try to appease us by thinking that's enough. That is not enough. That is
Having
that
little
may be enough
motorcycle
for some
bike
people.
rides for the kids.
That is not enough, because the type of stuff that we need oversight. Why don't you take that time, instead of bringing people there to pray? Why don't you bring people there to find out, why is the police dragging citizens? What is their protocol? Where is their policy? What are they
Why are they
supposed to do in
harassing us and
cases of
stalking us?
emergency? That's what we want to know. Okay. And until they do that, y'all ain't got nothing to pat yourself on the back about. They're not giving you anything. They're trying to appease you. So I appreciate peace. I appreciate prayer, but we need results. Okay. And we're not going to stop until we get that. That is not enough for the Ella Johnson show. And that's not enough for the people that follow the show. We want results. We want you to bring people in there that's going to make a difference, and stop trying to pat us on the back and coddle us by just bringing people there to pray and think that's enough to bring the community together. With all the churches and all the prayer, the community is not together. You have a young man that was dragged by the police and he is dead, and y'all are acting like nothing happened. Not on my watch.
We're not. And we're not even cops or anything to do with the city. We care more about what's going on. I'm just a person that lives in the city. I've been here 20 years. I moved down here to try to start a new life from Chicago. I got tired of, all the junk going on over in Chirette. I came down here to start a new life. And I kid you not, sometimes I think about, man, I picked the wrong place to move. I'm just some dude. Seriously. I mean, I moved from Chirette, all right, and in the trenches, to come down here and see how these pity-paw, cracker-ass jack people treat these people in the community, let alone me and the things that we've talked profusely and what's happened to me. I mean, I'm not bringing all that up right now, but for me to come to a small little southern town, that everyone goes, oh, it's like a postmark town. Oh, it's a blah, 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 blah. No, it's corrupt. It's jank. All right. The people that are on these boards don't care about anybody else below them. They care only about nothing but their seats. They don't do anything for us. They're not advocating for us. They're not putting the money into the school districts as they should, like we've talked about before. They're not doing anything to help our youth. All right. There's no rec centers. There's no community outreach for our children. There's hardly any daycares. Like for instance, autism is on the rise. I have a stage 3 autistic kid. I don't have not one place that I can bring my child as an autistic child for daycare. I have to I am unemployed due to my son. Now, these are core issues that have been brought, and that this council and the mayor knows there's really core true issues to the civility of our community, and they lack across all the board, all the way down to where there's been officers, there's been members of the community of higher ranking, I'll say that much, that have told Mayor Andrews, hey, yo, you can't have your chief of police have another second full-time job as a coach at the basketball team. She's never at the police station. We don't ever see her doing her job. She's spending more of her time over at the college than she is here. So how are you as a mayor allowing that activity to continue? Oh, well, she's one of my officers, and the council, and we've already talked about all that. She's completely legal in everything she's doing, and it's going to stay just the way that it is. That was the agreement, all right, that she had with the the last staff and people. Now, remember, that was all part of that whole lawsuit that she dropped. Her backdoor deal in her settlement was, we'll give you the chief of police, and we're going to allow you to keep your job at the college. So the council, all right, and the last mayors before, Mayor Oglesby, which, again, he was only a mayor for 4 months. I ran him out of town as soon as he made office. He wasn't mayor for 4 months, all right? Mayor Sandy was only but a proxy. She couldn't do anything until she was really voted in. She was just, she was proxy. She was just, a trophy mayor. She had really no power until she was voted in. But then we got Andrews. And, like we've kind of talked about before, how he actually got his numbers in to beat Mayor Sandy was by absentee ballots. I think that's been a problem here because, as we know, we've had several people in the community arrested for voter fraud and ballot harvesting. Okay, so we got a recount in Frisco, all right, over the Love deal and the other mayor in Frisco. Why was there not any demand for a recount or looking at Mr. Andrews and how all of the massive amount of absentee ballots that pushed him over the line to get him to win? Like I said before, Mayor Sandy won the popular vote. She won at the polls. All right, for live.
Is there proof of it, Stephen? Is there proof of it?
Yes.
Okay.
I've spoke to the person that actually seen it with their own eyes. And the person that told me this is absolutely zero reason to tell me otherwise. And, that person's black too. It's not like another white person that's just sticking up for a whitey. All right. You got to keep in mind, most of my freaking constituencies in this county are black folks. I don't have a lot of white people here. I don't like most of the white people here because they're all stuck up. All right. They think that their shit don't stink. All right. And they look down on everybody. And I'm a white dude. Right. So I'm just telling you, I spoke with the people that have been behind the scenes and have seen the poll numbers with their own eyes.
Right.
All right. And I have no reason to not believe this person whatsoever.
So here, let's talk about, before we get out of here, I want to make sure that we wrap this up first with you, Selena, finding out what is it that you would like from the Ella Johnson Show? Let me start with me. What can I do more of that's going to help you and your family more? What would you like to see more from me?
I think you're doing what you can do, Miss Ella. I thank you for doing, still bringing up the situation, still speaking on the case or whatever, because a lot of people are having justice for this and that third. It's been swept up on the road. Now that the months to pass, it's been swept up on the rug, and you doing everything. You speaking up for our family. I thank you for that much. I thank you for the protest that you started or whatever. I thank you for everything that you did. Ain't nothing much else you can do, but we can sit back and learn results from everybody else, the higher ups, if they do that. But I thank you for everything you done. That you're doing.
So what would you like to see? What would you like to see from Mayor Andrews? I want you to pretend he's sitting next to me. What would you say to him?
He needs to
speak to him. Mayor Andrews,
Mr. Andrews, you need to get rid of them officers, point blank period. Listen to the investigation over it, because like I said, that's not very It ain't fair at all. It ain't fair at all that we still we see these officers every day with their uniforms on while our cousin / family member, he's dead. And we see them still up on their job working, knowing that what they did was absolutely wrong. For one, they drug him across the parking lot while he did. It was wrong. And I feel like he needs to, well, Mr. Andrews, you need to do a proper investigation into your protocol stuff. Because they're not following protocols. I know this for a fact. The officers isn't following their protocols. They're not doing what they're supposed to do at all as officers. A lot of them doing a lot of illegal stuff. You know, we won't get into that, but it's a lot that needs to be done.
No, I want to get into it.
We want to get into it.
I want to get into it. You said that they're doing some illegal stuff. I want to hear it.
For real?
What is it?
Yes, well, for one, I'm sure that all of them know about the officers that this officer, brother, they just locked up a man for trying to sell minors vapes, if I'm not mistaken. He was trying to lure the minors with vape. He got life in prison. Well, why the officer that was dating this minor that was still in school at the time and everybody on the force know about it? Why he wasn't charged? Because he's an officer. I'm assuming because he's an officer. It's a lot of low down stuff that goes on that the officers do. You got officers that drunk drive. I know this for a fact. Be at the Shields game every year. Drunk driving. Plenty of officers be up out there. The mayor know about all this for him. It's a lot of stuff that the officers do. Let me ask you something also. It's just like the officer that pulled me over the other day. How was he allowed? From my understanding, it's illegal still a U-turn in the middle of the road. It's traffic coming on both ways. Right there across from across from McDonald's. This officers made a U-turn in the middle of the road to turn around and come behind me. That's illegal.
We saw one today just run a stop sign.
How is it that it's okay for the officers to do stuff that citizens can't? How is it okay for the officers to, how is that fair? How is it okay for them to do stuff, but then if one of us be locked up?
Yeah, how come they're able to do steroids and go pound weights over at the gym over there, all right, and get jacked and still run around their police cars with bullets and guns?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like, what his name is? The one trying to go truck. No, the guy that tried to go truck.
Stephen, you said Mandy. Oh my gosh.
What's his name? The officer that drives the gold truck.
Ray Sellers, the Indian looking cop.
No, he's a drug test. He worked task force.
Oh,
he's worked drugs.
There's
While you guys are thinking, let me answer this question. Let me ask this question from James. James says, what was the official medical cause of death from the state medical office? We don't know, James. We don't know anything yet. That's why I keep doing these shows, so we can just keep his name alive, because we don't know anything. Obviously, the conversation is going to change once SBI makes their ruling, and then it gets over to the DA. Right now, we don't know, we don't have an autopsy report. We don't know what the cause of death for T was. He died March 30th. It'll be 90 days come June 30th. We don't know about body cam footage. We don't see it. We haven't seen it. We don't really know if they even had it on. We know that they said they turned it over, but we don't know if there was a lapse in it or anything. So right now, we don't know anything, James. But that's a good question. Thank you.
What I'm finna say, Miss Elder, that's just like Mr. Mayor, rather. What I want to know is, I guess I know for a fact that my cousin's case they have not investigated it. It's just like they have an officer, Mark Well to be exact. Why is he still on the force and he have a pending investigation of sexual harassment lawsuit pending right now? So my thing, I know for a fact that he have a lawsuit pending because I have a family member that's suing them and he's still on the force. He's still on the force right now, still harassing people. So my thing is, how is all this stuff going on with your officers and they still working? How they still got a job? Why they still, why is they still working? That's what I want.
This is why we need to sign the petition. Because when you sign the petition, you can't depend on Mayor Andrews to investigate his guys. He's not going to do it. Okay? So we need his boss to do it. We need his boss to make sure that Mayor Andrews does his job. Because he's part of that blue wall. So the signing the petition, guys, brings someone else independent of Monroeville Police Department, SBI, independent of that, to go in there and see what's really going on. We brought enough out tonight from Selena. She's letting you guys know that this is way beyond T. You got officers doing this kind of stuff. So, drugs,
setting people up, doing freaking narcotics, getting drunk on the job.
So I want to address Sharon. Sharon, the mother of T, is here. She says, I can't say too much, but I do want to thank you for keeping his name alive and everyone else that's involved. You're welcome. You're welcome. She also says, I feel like the officers went too far. They're trying to hide what they did.
Oh, that's evident.
They definitely trying to hide.
The fact that they're not telling us nothing and acting like everything's okay is evidence to that alone.
They're looking at us like we're crazy. Why is Ella Johnson still having shows? Because she can. If you want to know the quick answer, because she can.
And I got high-speed internet, and I don't care. Man.
I mean, we need to keep talking about it, guys, because listen, this is a case that everyone should care about, because that could have been your son.
Damn right, and it still can be one of you guys. It could be
That's
me.
right. That's
I mean, you got to keep in mind. I mean, I even though that I have some friends in places, doesn't mean that Mandy doesn't get a wild hair up her butt and have someone go throw a throwaway in my car, that I don't know about. Now I will say this much. I don't make this very publicly known. You all know that I know the law very well. All right. If you try to plant something in my car, I'm going to demand fingerprints and touch DNA analysis immediately. So don't try to put anything in my car, because it's going to backfire and blow up on your face just like it did Alfred Carter and Mandy all them years ago again. So stay away.
So, Selena, let me ask you a question. You said you came here today and you've made you said a lot. And if they're watching, are you concerned that somebody's going to come after you?
No, I'm not. If they do, I serve. I don't know the God I serve. I'm not. They can't put no fear in me. I'm sure they will. They already, to pull me over since it happened. But I'm not scared. I don't care if they come. And guess what? I back on the show again.
We just gonna strike.
I back on the show again. I'm not gonna stand down, because the end of their right is right and wrong is wrong. So,
did you say strap up?
Me?
No, I'm talking about Steven. Did you say strap up?
No, I will strike it up.
Oh, strike it. I was like, strap up. What?
No, absolutely not. I said we'll strike it up.
Okay. So Gary Bradley says one can assume that all of these officials are not going back in office. Is there a possibility that the new officials can bring it all in the open?
I mean, if they actually care, maybe they'll come on the show and get involved. It says right now the platform. Let me see. Is it all right if I speak for a second on that?
Sure. Go ahead.
All these. Pull that picture back up, sweetie. All right. Now there's the whole red wave coming. There's the whole animosity between Democrats and Republicans are so hot right now, and there's people on tickets that are looking for just straight ticket voters that are just gonna vote red or are just gonna vote blue. All right. Do I believe that Brian House really needs to be the sheriff of the county? I don't believe so at all. I know that back in his task force days, working with Alfred Carter, Mandy, Mark Webb, he was part of the whole clique. I mean, I don't really know all too much about him, but I know that his past and prior experiences, in the community and the people that he has worked along and was teamed up and on teams with. Like say here's the Republican Party candidates. All right, there's a little ad going around Facebook right now. I want to say the same thing for the Blue Party as well. The forum that you created, Ella, all right, that's bringing people like her out, myself out, and so many other countless others that are messaging you and me on a daily basis. All right, you have created here a very vocal and open instrument to transparency. And if our elected leaders, all right, the ones that say, look, I doubt we're ever going to get anybody from that council on the show. All right, but
that would be fun.
That would be awesome, man. That'd be like a freaking grill fest. All right, you never know.
I would be respectful. I
would be respectful and nice, but there'd be some really heavy hitting zingers I don't think they can answer, But anyways,
but I'm not going to be light. I'm not going to be easy. I'm going to ask the question.
So what I'm getting at is that with the show that you created and our representatives that are out there now, our representatives that are trying to get into the offices in this next election now, this show, Ella Johnson, all right, has opened the doorway and be able to get people that you are going to govern, all right, citizens of this community like me and her, We're not going anywhere. I'm a homeowner. I own several homes. I have a lot of property, and I've been here 20 years. I mean, I'm not going anywhere time soon unless maybe my lawsuit pops with the mortgage. I mean, if I get a really decent settlement out of that, I'm probably going to move because there's much better places.
Come to Florida first. Break me off some.
Yeah, right. I'll give you a donation for sure. So
break me off some. I'm just saying.
I got you, girl. For real.
We ask not, right?
Yeah, right. Got to knock, man. The answer. But that's all I'm getting at is that your show has opened a really strong door, all right, for people in the community to come forward. And in the coming shows that we're going to be doing, everybody out there in YouTube and Facebook land, we're going to be covering anti-corruption series and lots of other things that are going on. All right. So, I mean, the show at the moment, because of the gravity of what happened to her family and her loved one, all right, it definitely needs to stay red hot. But as we continue, the people out there that are looking for your votes, for the people for you to govern us, if you want to make a difference in the community, we need transparency. All right. We need audits. We need a Department of Justice audit. We need to look at these cases that have been gone through over all these years. We need to look at the David Steele, David, the both of them, because, and I want to make this on this show clear, and we'll talk about this in the coming shows. David Steele Jr., all right, as David Steele Sr., stole a lot of money and did a lot of corrupt things and massive amounts of fraud through his office that his son teamed up and partnered with. Now, I can tell you that I have sent David Steele to the State Bar Association for trying to set me up, all right, for Mandy Armstrong, all right? So, as this goes forward, we need accountability because because of my experience and what I know, if David Steele can lie and cheat and try to commit fraud on my behalf to set me up for Mayor Mike Kennedy and Mandy Armstrong, what did he do to you? What did he do to your loved ones? How many other people did he get in cahoots with and sell them out and set them up at the expense of them? All right. My point is that the leaders out there are extremely egregious wrongs that have went on in our county for decades. If any of you actually give 2 cents about us, you'll get up on the horn. You will get the FBI here, you'll get the DEA here, and you'll get the Department of Justice here, and you'll start at the Monroeville Police Department and that council and work your way down forward. All right? Now, I'm just going to put it out there. That's how we're going to be able to fix the county that we live in and the city that we live in. We need the Department of Justice here to get here and start doing interviews with people. Listen to people like me. Listen to people like her. Listen to my wife. And all the other countless other people that have come forward quietly, confidentially to myself and Ella. This isn't over, all right? We finally have high-speed internet. We have platforms that we can share our voices and get our voices out there. For so long, this place has operated in the dark, swept all of us underneath the carpet, killed us, killed our family members, set us up, all right, you name it. I mean, for so many years, I'm not going to say all. There are good cops out there. There are good cops in our community now. But unfortunately, there's a lot of bad ones still too. All right. So until we actually start being transparent and have people and our leaders, our commissioners, our district commissioners, our mayor, all right, and the people that govern us actually start giving a crap about the people they employ. We don't want jacked up officers running around banging narcotics, all right, and running around like they're wannabe Wolverines. You were not given a job, all right, to be the biggest, baddest son of a bitch on the block. No, you got hired for compassion, for caring, all right. That is your core role as an officer. It's the duty to protect, compassion, and caring. That Wolverine shit don't need to come out until someone needs it. Someone's being dangerous. You don't get to walk around like you're, man, Mr. Wolverine, top cop. I'm the biggest, baddest cop, whatever. And a lot of these officers over the years, they're on narcotics. They're banging steroids. All right? Many of them. I mean, Michael Gibson was one of them. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to throw any names out. I'm going to wait till a little bit later in the series. All right, you guys know who you are, and just know everyone's watching you. All right, what goes on in the dark will come into the light. Know that. And I will say this before I shut up because I'll talk a lot. All right, I would highly recommend that all the officers, all right, that are in the MPD that have their retirement, including you, Mandy, you're a fool if you continue to be an officer here. If you lose your license, if you get screwed in all this and you don't pull your pension now and resign and go into retirement, you're going to lose it all. All right. And I'm going to make sure you do. All right. Because don't think that I didn't forget that you set me and my family up for Mike Kennedy. All right. With his pedophile little brother. All right. Brother-in-law. I know my wife lost her kid because of you and everything else that's happened. If you don't think that I don't still talk to people about that, don't be fooled. If you made your retirement, you made your numbers, retire now while you can, or forever hold your peace. The officer, the little short white, older woman that dealt with Mr. Tunstall, all right, and her, all right, yeah, something serious. You made your numbers. You need to call the state, pull your retirement now. Every single officer that's inside that Monroeville Police Department, if you made your retirement numbers, man, you better be running to your freaking retirement office tomorrow and pulling your numbers. All right, because what's going to happen out of the Tunstall family and what's coming for you next and what's going to come with after me, I'm going for all of you. I will make sure that every single one of you lose your pensions, lose your jobs, and bare minimum go to jail. All right.
I was gonna say that. Also, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's also what I was gonna say. Like, I also want to know why they, if it was one of us that did what they did to T,
we'd be in jail.
Why they locked up?
Getting all the burritos.
Why? Well, I ain't gonna say why they locked up because the investigation is spent. But I would say this right here: when it's all said and done, we gonna see that they're at fault. I feel like they should be locked up behind it.
And they very well still might be. That's why they shouldn't have badges running around right now. So that's just my message. All right, you guys can continue thinking that everything's okay. I'm telling you and warning you now, things are not okay. Don't think that you get to walk around and act like it. And if you keep acting like it's okay, then it's going to be okay. You ever heard that term, Ella, fake it till you make it?
Fake it till you make it, yeah.
This ain't one of these deals where you get to fake it and make it. You're going to keep faking it and wind yourself into a ditch and lose it all. So,
do you think she's listening to you? Do you think she's watching this right now?
Oh, she watched the last one. I mean, I got little birds and flies on walls everywhere. She came to work after the last show in the morning on Monday. Oh, Stephen made me to be the worst cop in town. All the city police's problems are all because of me. Yeah, well, guess what? They are. All right. And now finally we have a platform that we can get up on the stage, all right, and talk about all the gross negligences that are happening inside this place. Do you think that I like to be up here? I don't mean to talk so loud here, I'm sorry. Do you think that I like to be up here, not one, risking my life, risking my freedom, all right, and talking all the junk about these people? I would love to have a show that's actually can highlight and say, man, Monroeville's up and coming. We got Kraft Foods, we got Ford, we have this, we have Hyundai, or whoever coming to town. Man, I wish that I could come up and speak up here and say really good things about this town. All right. But my personal experiences, what I see out in public on the daily, talking to people like her and all the other countless people that come to me in confidence and confidential and speak to me about their prior experiences, what's happening to them now currently, which we have a lot of them. All right. Everyone is so afraid to talk. All right. They are. And we need to have we don't need to be in fear to talk. We are Americans. We have a constitution. We have the freedom of free speech. We should be allowed to speak our grievances and talk about the core matters that matter to us, and not have to worry about getting a billy club knocked upside our head, getting pulled over in traffic, and something planted in our car.
So let's take the rest of the comments, guys, before we get out of here. Hattie says, we need a statement of concern from the pastors of the churches. I think that's fair. I mean, because they went down to city council and they were able to pray. So we should expect them to. It's okay if you're a minister to talk about civil rights. Do you remember that it was a minister who led it So I don't know why we want to be so politically correct and think that no, Ella, we just need to pray. No, that ain't
No,
that
we
ain't
need action.
even God said that ain't enough.
No,
Okay.
we got to do works.
All right. So James says the sheriff department needs to take over the city police force. Okay. Please be safe. That was to you, Selena. James is saying, please be safe because you said a lot of stuff tonight. Way more than I thought. But I mean, you had to get it out. Do you regret saying everything that you
I
said?
don't. No, ma'am. I do
Okay.
not regret saying anything.
Deborah says maybe it's best not to say too much. Too late. To
I
the
think
city,
the time
to
for
the
that's
councilmen,
ended.
police, and anybody involved, this isn't going away. That's from Miss Sharon, the mother of T. Tunstall. Hattie says we need to call out pastors who are paid to shepherd the flock in money. Okay, in Moreover, the good old boy system. And you're right, but my lawyer didn't say I couldn't share my feelings about what happened to my son. Okay, all
That
right.
will
So
come.
I guess she's responding to people saying don't say too much. James says don't go down with the ship. Retire now, senior city police.
Seriously.
Seriously, right? Well, I hope that we covered everything that you wanted to get out, Selena. But if not, I want you to take this time to tell us what you would like people to remember about T, your cousin.
But I want people to remember that he was somebody's family member. You know, he wasn't where people try to make him out to be. But some people try to make him out to be. He was like a loving person. He would give you the sharpest back if you needed it. It just what type of person he was. I want people to know that to think about his family, think about his kids. You know, when it comes to this petition, you know, especially think about his kids, think about his you know how his kids. He ain't here to see his kids grow up. He ain't here to see his kids grow up, and it's not fair at all. I want folks to know that, like I said, he wasn't the person that man tried to make him out to be. He was not this type of person. If you know him personally, you know he was not that type of person. Of course, he was not no pushover, but at the same time, he wasn't just no aggressive person that was like he was just causing problems with people. And I want people to know that.
Okay. Stephen, do you have any final words before we get out of here?
Well, I always have a final word.
I know you do.
I got me an orzo, a pan-fried orzo mushroom and onion stuffing mix, and sitting in some Cornish hens right now that have been slow cooking in the oven since we first started talking earlier today that I know are going to be so delicious. But my last words are to the people who are listening out there and the people in the community. It's people like you that make this matter. All right, getting it out there. I know that everybody can't sit and take 2 hours out of their time, but I know, and I've been watching the numbers. I've been watching the metrics for what I can see. All right, the show has been actually getting thousands of hits. All right, and full length watches, and I want to extend my appreciation to all the people out there that are watching this show and that are supporting Ella, that is supporting her family, that's supporting what I've been saying. We can't do what we're doing right now without you. And I can't stress enough, all my share patriots out there, all right, share. The algorithm is watching. It is the all-seeing eye. We need to beat the algorithm. We need to get this out there. Share it as much as you possibly can. And I want everyone out here in Monroe City and Monroe County to know there are people who care, all right? We do know the things that have happened. If mostly everyone knows how to reach me, and mostly everyone knows how to reach Ellen. If you have anything that you need to cover, that something happened to you, that you think is not right or is wrong, I implore you to contact me or to contact Ellen. And I promise you, and I give you my word in the open audience, confidentiality. I do not say anybody's names to anybody. You have to give me permission to be able to speak your name. I will never, even if you don't want me to cover your experience, but you just want some help, you want to know, all right, I can keep anything you tell me private. We need change here. This is a good community. This can be a good place. It's a beautiful town. It's got beautiful people in it. But this town has been rotting for so long from the inside from shitty bureaucrats that don't care about the people that make the town be what it is. This town gets its tax dollars because of us and everybody in this community. Our home taxes, which I don't agree with. We need to stop home taxes. We already bought our house once. All right. All the business taxes, all the people that pay your payroll is because of business tax. All right. And our county taxes. The reason why you have jobs is because we're spending our money. All right. Well, for too long, we have been choked and just snuffed out. No one's listening to us. Everybody on their boards care nothing about but just their seat, their little place of power. So they can tell all their family members and friends, oh, well, you know, I'm council member, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about that. We want to know that what you're doing for us. We don't want a flock/AI spy system in our town. All right. No one voted for that. All right. The mayor that got elected in made that decision for us. There's so many, and I could go on and on. All I'm going to wrap up with this is that people in the community, please stay tuned. There's more to come. There's going to be more shows, and we're going to get even deeper. And anybody that has any concerns or anything that they know that they want to divulge, get it to us. Because I'm telling you right now, I am gunning for a class action lawsuit against these people. I need as much information from people as possible. I am one of them. If there's any way that we can create a class action against Monroeville City, or maybe even the county from past wrongs from, back in the day, I'll make it happen. That's what I want. I want true accountability. I want everyone that's been wronged in this place finally get their voice heard and know that there are people listening, there are people watching, there are people that care.
I have a question here from Stephanie. She said, who's responsible for hiring police officers in Monroeville? Is that Mandy?
But, she's hardly at work, so I guess the fly in her office on the wall is doing the hiring.
Well, let's pretend she's in the office. Is it Mandy?
It's Mandy.
Mandy. Okay. There you go, Steph. That's your answer. It's Mandy. She's responsible for hiring the police officers. So I hope, Mandy, that these officers that handled T that day were qualified to be on the force. I pray that they have gone through the training as required by APOSTC. Okay.
And their fitness exams.
Yeah.
Drug tests.
So guys, I have a copy here of the page for the petition. This is what it looks like. And this is what I pulled up before the show. So you see, we're almost at that 500 mark. With everybody that's watching this show tonight, especially everybody that views it, please
share
a moment and click on that link. We need to get to 1,000 signatures because then we can be taken seriously at the AG's office. Okay. So we need your support on that real time, please. Thank you guys so much. Stephanie also says, has T's family asked for a status update from Aaliyah? Sharon, if you're watching, can you answer that question? Have you guys asked for a status update from Aaliyah? I'm assuming that because she has attorneys, they're probably in communication. But based on the last research I saw, it's still in SBI and Aaliyah's hands. It's still in their hands.
That's what I got told last week.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are, guys, is that it's still under investigation and we're just still waiting. But believe me, as soon as that comes down, you'll hear it first right here on the Ella Johnson Show. Well, we're going to get out of here, guys. Thank you, Selena, for being transparent. And I pray in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, that you are safe and that angels will continue to protect you, cover your family, and all of that, because you came here today and you did what you rightfully so can do, which is tell the truth. And we appreciate your testimony here today. Thank you all so much. All of you that have podcasts, please share my show on your podcast. Please spread the word, guys. Every single one of you share this.
We need all the help we can get.
All the help we can get. Anybody that has a big platform and you want to feature this story, please reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Selena and anyone else, because I just care that it gets out there. I don't care who has to do it, as long as it's getting out there and it's getting into the right hands. All right, guys. So everyone have a great evening. Have a great weekend. I mean, a great week. The weekend's over.
God bless. Thank you.
Yes.
Y'all.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. I'll be back Thursday night, Monroe County Uncovered. I'll be right back here with Dr. Turner Pugh, Barbaretta. You guys saw the show on Thursday. Well, we'll be
Nice.
back Tuesday night for part 2. So y'all look for her drops. She's bringing 3 and 4 this week. So have a great evening, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.